Hello, this is Lysha Holmes of Key Recruitment, and I'm absolutely thrilled today to be joined by a super familiar face to me because we've known each other for about 75 years. It is Andy Hibbert, and the list is very long. He is an entrepreneur and owner of a number of different businesses: Real 5 Network, Real 5 Digital, Real 5 Finance, iSupply Group. He's a director at Radio Warrington, i-kaboodle, and a board member of the Warrington BID, which is the Business Improvement District, and also father, dog dad, many other things. Welcome to the channel, Andy. How are you?
I'm really well, Lysha. Thanks for that. That was an intro and a half, wasn't it, eh?
It's like,
Absolutely.
do you know, honestly, when I was doing my prep for today, I just thought, my goodness, is there anything that you aren't doing right at the moment? That's why we invited you on. You're an incredible person. Obviously, I know you. I've known you for over 20 years. But for those who aren't yet familiar with who you are, do you want to give us a bio of why we're talking today?
Yeah, sure. Well, thanks for having me on, Lysha. I think one of the main reasons why I'm on today is because we've known each other for a very, very long time, and we started our careers together back in the day at Primetime Recruitment, which I look back on very, very fondly. And we've remained good friends ever since. So thanks for having me on. Suppose, you know, being here today is a reflection of all the things that we've got going on at the moment. Recruiter at heart, obviously 23 years in the recruitment industry. iSupply Group being, I'm co-owner director of the iSupply Group, predominantly specialising in warehouse distribution, logistics, predominantly the temp market, high volume. And then from that, other things have developed over the last few years, being Real 5 Networking, which is a business networking group, Real 5 Finance, which is finance brokerage, Real 5 Digital, which is a digital marketing agency. And then the Radio Warrington and the Warrington BID stuff is things that I've got involved with through my local town, local community, voluntary roles, to be honest with you, Lysha, but things that are able to support me in my day-to-day business and things that I enjoy. And I think it's important to give a bit back to the local town.
It definitely. You are the epitome to me of what a true business owner looks like. You are leading by example, but you're also giving things back. So, you know, I think it's going to be a very inspirational interview for many people who are listening, who are also recruitment business owners and maybe looking to do something for themselves to give something back to their communities, but also to aspiring recruiters as to how you maximise your time. And we are going to cover all of these topics. So I'm really interested in the Real 5 network. So talk to me about the business networking community, why and how Real 5 came about.
Okay, yeah. So Real 5 Networking came about through me being on holiday with my wife and thinking about how I was going to do things differently within my recruitment business when I got back from holiday, because I was maybe feeling a bit flat, a bit stale, and we were looking to do things that, you know, we just do things differently, really. And I'd done networking previously, as I'm sure most of us have done over the years. And I was thinking about how the world of sales within recruitment has changed, because in our day, it was very much, there's a book, there's a Rolodex, go and do 100 calls a day and hopefully try and get all the 25 decision makers, book an X amount of appointments, and that will lead to X amount of opportunities, which in the day worked. You know, it was a numbers game. Things have changed, as we all know, and I definitely don't run my business like that. In fact, we don't really have any salespeople working here. It's very, very customer focused. But that can have problems in terms of creating opportunities. So I thought, you know, let's get back into networking. Let's have a look what's out there, and you know, having a look at what was around and what was going on. It hadn't really changed in the last 10, 15 years. And it was still very stale. And this isn't me being detrimental to other networking groups that are out there. Just a fact. You know, not a lot had changed, and a lot of networking groups that were in and around the local area were the same, hadn't grown. Probably had still the same people in that had been in it for 15 years. And, you know, it just didn't appeal to me. Also, the way that some of these networks were run or are run. I don't want to be somewhere at 6 o'clock in the morning, you know, speaking to people. I'm definitely not at my best at that time. And I've got a busy life, got family, got kids, dogs. So turning up at a leisure centre for a soggy bacon butty at 6 o'clock on a Friday morning just isn't my idea of fun. And I thought to myself, you know what, I can do this myself. I can create something in my local town that will have all the things that I want it to have, quite selfishly, but, you know, enable me to leverage time, reward proactivity, and have some fun while we're doing it, but at the same time, make sure that it's producing results. So when we got back from holiday, I've been talking boring Rachel to death with this on the plane, and she's like, yeah, fine, whatever, do the rest, you know, shut up now. I sort of had a couple of days at home and then just got up and wrote a business plan early one morning with all these different things, and then over the course of the next few days, sounded out a few people that I know locally, business owners, and said, what do you think about this? If it was a concept and this is how it would work, and you would get rewarded for successful referrals. We'd just meet once a month. We'd meet at a nice bar or restaurant, and we'd make it really sociable. There's no pressure. There's no sales zone, all these different things. And the feedback was great. So I thought, let's go for it. So we had a launch night back in February 2018.
Oh gosh, you did it 2 years ago.
Yeah, February 2018. Wow. We launched Warrington, and we had our first official meeting in the March with our founding 23 members, and it went from there.
Fantastic. And so then you've grown through franchises across the UK?
Yeah, so the Warrington group grew. We've now got 70 members in the Warrington group, which makes it the largest independent business networking group in the town, which is pretty impressive considering there's loads of networking groups in Warrington and there's a lot going on. So we've taken that mantle. A couple of guys from within the Warrington group said to us, look, I really like this. I mean, I do a lot of business in Chester and I've got an office over there. I would like to take it to Chester. And that was how the franchise piece grew, really, because at the time when I set it off, did I have this vision of having 20, 30 groups? Not really, if I'm honest. I just thought, I'll get this group going, it'll be great for the town, and it'll be great for us to work as a magnet to my own core business, iSupply. So when someone said, I love this, I'll take it, I was like, okay, this has got legs. Let's see how it goes. So we cut a deal on what that looked like, and the Chester one grew, and Owen did a great job. And then David, who's an IFA, lives in Knutsford, he was like, well, I think this would work in Knutsford. And we went from there, and the rest is history, so to speak. So we've now got 12 franchises all over the Northwest, with another 4 in the pipeline, which will be launched before kind of February 2021. We've got a guy in Canada interested, we've got a guy in Dubai interested, and then some other parts of the UK, such as Reading, London, Scotland. So yeah, the concept worked really well. During lockdown, we won the Cheshire Business Award, the High Sheriff's Cheshire Business Award for Enterprise. We should have been to some snazzy award ceremony at Chester Racecourse, but unfortunately because of lockdown we didn't get it. But that really kind of confirmed that we've done something good here. We've done something unique. It's innovative, and yeah, with the network as a whole now generated over £13 million worth of new business for its members in the last 2.5 years. We've paid out over 350 grand in referral fees, and we've donated over £50,000 to local charities. So yeah, it's been a really, really exciting journey and something that I've thoroughly enjoyed.
And that, looking from the outside, it looks like you have fun together because you have these social environments, but you also do a lot of walks and a lot of sort of not just sitting around, like say, a soggy bacon butty.
Yeah.
So if anybody is interested that's either watching on YouTube or listening on the podcast, we'll make sure that all of Andy's contact details for Real 5 are available, because I do think it's something very special. It just seems a bit more authentic than some more contrived networking environments. But, you know, we're recording this at the middle of October 2020, so we're still having a huge impact from COVID. So how has that impacted Real 5? And then how have you ensured that you can still network safely going forward?
Yeah, so it's been a moving feast, to say the least. When it first impacted, I was thinking, wow, this is going to kill us, quite frankly. But then you sort of get over the initial shock of, right, you can't meet, you can't see each other, you can't do this, and you're thinking, whoa, I'm running an events-based business here. That's a problem. So I sat back and thought, okay, we need to look at where we want to be next year. So let's not look at the next 6 months. Let's look at what's important to us in 2021, because looking at all the experts and what's being said, this ain't going away very quickly, and lo and behold, it's not. So I took the decision to say to the members, look, we obviously can't meet, and that means that you're not going to get your nice lunch in a fancy restaurant. But what's important to me, as I know it was important to those guys, is that we kept the network together, because now more than ever, we need, as business owners, to be able to be surrounded by our peers, people who are going through the same issues, the same problems, sharing knowledge, experience, advice, even if it's just a bit of a shoulder to cry on. And trust me, there has been that over this period within the network. So I didn't want to put unnecessary pressure on those guys to say, well, you've got to still keep paying, and you're due for renewal and all this. So from a cash flow point of view, it killed me for a period, but it was definitely the right thing to do. We froze renewals, so anyone who was due to renew in that period, they didn't have to pay it, and we cut the monthly subscriptions in half.
Wow.
And at the same time, we produced a weekly webinar forum. So every Friday across all the network, we had a weekly Zoom call. We had guest speakers. We had members giving out advice and support. We had a forum just to go, how are you coping with homeschooling kind of thing. And it was just, people were locked down. People weren't going anywhere. So that Friday call, like we're doing it now on Zoom, just to see a friendly face and go, how's things? What are we doing? Sharing ideas, coming up with different ways of people being able to kind of maybe pivot the business or different opportunities and promote things. It wasn't about selling to each other. It was about a support mechanism. And over that lockdown period, the network actually grew, and we actually sold 2 more franchises, which was like, wow, this is amazing. So I think the decisions we took were the right ones, because as I said to all of our members, however you act now with your customers, your candidates, whoever it might be, will be how you're remembered when this is all done. So do the right thing, even if it might be painful. You've got to do the right thing.
You definitely did the right thing. I think, given who your members are, same as my listeners and my clients, these are the business owners, and it can be a really lonely place at the top, because you don't know who to go and speak to. And I actually shared a post recently on LinkedIn about that how often do you actually have anyone ask how you are as a business owner? Yeah. You're probably juggling homeschooling, terrified of being able to pay your employees, and that's where I think there's a huge benefit of being part of the sort of network that you are. And it says an awful lot about you that you did that, because like you say, not only did you sort of maintain your membership, but you actually grew it. So I think that's a huge lesson to anyone watching and listening, that it is about looking the long-term picture and not just seeing this kind of granular, oh my God, where are we today, and panicking almost. Yeah. It's quite a calm strategy to have had. So that's absolutely phenomenal. And obviously, you're as any events, regardless of what your events are or what your networking group does, you're going to be dictated to an extent by the government for the foreseeable. So you've got to work within the parameters, but it's about not panicking and communicating.
Yeah.
The webinar, the Zoom, it's still keeping people connected. It's really important. You used a word a little bit earlier on, and I consider you the king of it. You are the king of pivot. So how do you plan your next pivot? I mean, you talked about being on holiday with Rach, and that's how kind of Real 5 came up. So are you really strategic? Because people that are maybe sat there thinking, maybe I should be doing this sector, or maybe I should go and do this. How do you plan it? And what would your top tips be to someone sat in that position now thinking, maybe I should look elsewhere?
So I think there's a combination of things that enable you to pivot or open new revenue streams. Some of it is strategic planning, and I think anyone who's got a business, whether it's a recruitment business or whatever industry you're in, if you're not being strategic, you're going to end up causing yourself some problems. I'm not saying you have to map out the next 10 years, but it's probably a good idea to think about where you want to be this time next year and what you need to do in order to get there. It's not rocket science, that whole gap analysis thing that we've all done years ago, but just break it down. Where are you now? Where would you like to be? And if that's exactly in the same place, well, there's still a number of fundamental things that you're going to need to do in order to for you to maintain that position. So I think, yes, there's some strategic planning in terms of where you want to be personally within your business. Excuse me. If you want to try and add things in, new revenue streams, and look at different ways to secure your business or your overall portfolio, for me, it's always been about trying to create an ecosystem within my business portfolio that feed into each other. Because if you go too diverse, that can bring all sorts of problems with it. And I'll give you an example of that. I've obviously got a share in a business called i-kaboodle that is a pet bowl business. You know, long story, but old friend of mine, actually a member of Real 5 Networking, runs a business called Easy Tots. She's got a business called Easy Pets, which is all these portable feeding stations for pets. Was in a bit of a rut with it. So I said, look, let's get involved and see what we can do. So we've had some fun with that. We really had some fun, including winning a program on BBC One, which was amazing. But what has been difficult is that that's so far outside of my kind of standard portfolio that in order for me to give it the time and attention it deserves and have conversations about it becomes very difficult. So anything that you're looking to add in, try and let it dovetail or link in some way. So recruitment and networking are really easy to have a conversation about. You know, it just links in so well. It's people focused. It's perfect. You know, the digital business and the finance business, they've come around because there was a need within the network for those services. So I had a captive audience that I was able to provide these services for immediately. So the digital business had a retained customer base of 18, 19 customers within its first 3 months. And for a digital marketing agency to launch, particularly in these difficult times, and to be able to have that sort of client base straight away, without the other businesses, that would never have happened. So I think for me, yeah, I plan some of it because I like that ecosystem of being able to keep it within and make sure people within the network are spending money with each other, and that creates its own opportunities. And some of it, you know, you've just got to have a bit of luck and right place, right time, and have the willingness to say, I'm not going to stick around. I'm not going to procrastinate. I'm not going to think about it too much. I'm just going to go and bloody well do it.
So you need to have a set of balls, really. You know, not fear the failure. And I think, you know, failure is, you know, actually it can cripple you, can't it? And what's I think those are phenomenal. That's phenomenal advice for anyone listening. And I've certainly sat there now thinking, yeah, that ecosystem totally works. It's, you know, leveraging what you already know, not making it a total silo, because it just doesn't make any sense. So I think that's a huge set of advice there. So we're not quite at the end of 2020, but if you look back over the last sort of 7-8 months, what have been your biggest learns professionally and personally this year?
Yeah, but without a doubt, probably the biggest learning year that I've ever had. That's for sure. But strangely enough, a lot of what I have learned comes back to a few key things that I think I already knew, but maybe didn't appreciate the value of those things enough, if that makes sense. And that comes back to additional revenue streams are vital. You know, I was already on that path, but I think this has just reinforced how important they are. I think having good people around you, you know, we always say it. There's absolutely no way I'd be able to run these businesses and be involved in so many different things without good people around me. And I'm really fortunate that I've got some brilliant people around me, business partners and staff who are, you know, superb, and you can trust them. They walk through walls for you, and there's no substitute for that. So for anyone who's looking to get into business or start up something new, make sure you're doing it with the right people around you who are there to support you and give you the advice that you need. Touched on it before, don't wait around. You know, our old MD at Primetime Recruitment, David Gallagher, launched Primetime in 1992, which was slap bang in the middle of a recession, and opened up 6 new offices all at once. And he said to us at the time, look, if you can do something in that sort of period, you can do it anytime, because you're never going to get a tougher time than now. So if you come across something now, which is an opportunity, go for it. Don't waste. What's the worst that can happen? You might lose a few quid. You know, as long as you're not putting your house on the line, you know, you give it a go. Give it a go. Make sure it's calculated. And also, finally on that, appreciate the outdoors. You know, I get out there a lot anyway. We like the hills and the mountains and the beach and all that kind of stuff. But when it's taken away from you, oh my God, I just think it is so difficult to take. Awful. So get outdoors and appreciate it you've ever done.
Exercise, it's good. There's a real theme coming through from all the interviews that I'm doing for our channel, that most business owners say that make time for exercise every day. I don't know if anyone else watching this and listening to this is thinking, when does this man have time to sleep and eat? You also have a family, so how do you, so a final bit of advice really for those who are having to juggle so many different things and we're all wearing so many different hats, how do you manage that with all these business interests that you have?
Yeah, so I think, again, going back to it, good people around you, massively important, being able to sort of share the load, because there's absolutely no way I'd be doing this by myself. I'd be 6 feet under for sure. So great people around you, being able to kind of divvy up the workload is hugely important. I suppose making time for things, we touched on this when we were talking off air, I suppose, that I really enjoy working. I really enjoy what I do. I enjoy having a business. I enjoy all the things that it brings and all the challenges that you go through day to day. So people find time for things they enjoy, whether that's going to the pub, playing football, watching Love Island, whatever it is that floats your boat. You find time for things you enjoy. So I enjoy what I do. So guess what? You know, I won't sit there and watch 2 hours of pointless TV. I'll do a bit of work and see where that takes me. So that might sound really sad to some people, but I really enjoy what I do, so that helps massively.
Yeah, definitely. It's been so insightful, and obviously we will share all your connection details if anyone's interested in getting involved with Real 5 networking or just wants to have a chat with another super business entrepreneur that I'm very fond of you, as you know. We go back a long time, Andy. Thank you so much for joining us today. We're really grateful to you.
No, brilliant. Thanks for having me on, Lysha. It's been an absolute pleasure.